Hello, this is Crypto CJ. Welcome to today's trade of the day. It's a Friday afternoon Zoom edition, and we've had a very interesting afternoon. Bitcoin has been pumping. It's brought up a lot of the altcoins with it. Let's check it out. So I'm going to share my screen. We will go to the Bitcoin chart. And you guys should see my Bitcoin day chart. You guys see that okay? All right, good.
Yes.
All right, so we're starting to make our way away from the bottom of this channel I've had going since January. And I drew a trend line a little while ago on the 4-hour chart. So we'll check that out. I also added the VPVR, which is a volume indicator. Bryce on CryptNation uses this a lot. So on the 4-hour, I think there's something very interesting here in that we had a drop last night in the wee hours of the morning, and then a pretty strong bounce off this trend line here. And we've got a hole in the volume right here in the right around 40, upper 41, 41.6 up into the low 40s. I thought there would be a lot of sell orders here, but this doesn't necessarily tell us about sell orders, but it'll let us know what buying and selling has occurred in the past. So get a little closer on the 1 hour. Yeah, I really expected, I wonder if this is just a function of the software, because I expected to see more action here on this VPVR. Regardless, what most of the talking heads on YouTube, some of the people I like on CryptNation and Crypto Banter, that if we can push through this 41 to 42 area and hold and not break down from that, that's a good sign that we're going to continue to go up. What I think is more likely is that we'll have a retrace down to this area here in the high 30s, maybe around here, and then it'll bounce off that. Usually when you have a pump like this, you need to retrace before it's sustained. So that's how I see Bitcoin looking.
Do we know what's driving this pump by any chance?
Not particularly. I mean, we hear the same things. We have more institutions coming in, whale action. There was something with options expiring earlier today. But I can't think of any one issue that would cause today's pump. There probably is. I'm just not sure what it is. Plus, it's just due to come back. That might have something to do with it. I mean, on the day chart, we got a lot of room to come back from the high here, 64 and change, to where we are now, 35%. So there's still a long way to go. Could take a few months to get back there, if not longer. Everybody has an opinion about where Bitcoin's going to go. It definitely affects the altcoins, which is why we always start with our analysis of Bitcoin. And a close second is Ethereum. It's had a really nice pump today, or the last few days. And I did not update my trend line here. I blasted through it. Get rid of this. Draw a new one. Yeah, expect something like, something like that with Ethereum. Pump, retrace, then shoots up. Of course, I think I diagram like something like this nearly every show, and it doesn't quite work out the way I think it's going to. But if I could do that, then I'd be wealthy. Anyway, so yeah, Ethereum and Bitcoin looking fairly similar. and it'll be very interesting to see if tonight and over the weekend we can sustain these moves. Retrace is probably inevitable. It's very rare when something goes straight up. So that's all I have on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Any questions or things to discuss before I move on to Altcoin Alert? I'll check the chat real quick. 15th, yeah. Patrick's advising a Bitcoin at 41K was the last high on June 15th. Yeah, hopefully we break that soon. All right, so let's check out Altcoin Alert. I traded Axie this morning. I got in, and I'm in a long position. It doesn't really necessarily move with Bitcoin, which is kind of a bummer for me because I'd be in better shape on that one if it were. But these NFT gaming tokens like Axie and Alice and Sandbox aren't as strongly correlated to Bitcoin as the other altcoins are. So it'll be interesting to see how those play out. They're fairly new. They're connected to games that people put money in and play. So they have use. They're just not theoretical. And if people are playing these games and swapping money and tokens to do so, then that really shouldn't have anything to do with Bitcoin. So it'll be interesting to see how those play out. Regardless, I'm in Axie. Let's check it out. I had a little bad luck with this. When I got in on this, when I saw this candle action going up this morning and caught a really nice spike here, and then it crashed again, but then it's slowly moving up. I've got my favorite way to use stop losses is to protect profit. So now that I'm up here, I've got a stop loss around here, like 42.9, protecting 2 or 3%. So it's a nice spot trade. I personally, I'm in a 5x leverage, so I've got that going for me. So this trade's working out really nicely. Here's something I did badly. I'll show you that too. On FTM, a lot of the times when the RSI goes above the 70, it comes back pretty quickly. And so I got in on a short right here, and then it shot up. Actually, no, that's not where I was. I'm sorry, wrong coin. It was CHR. So I got in here thinking, it was done, and then it just shot up and stopped me out. So my Axis profits are essentially going to pay for this loss. But I made a note to not that shorts during a Bitcoin drop, even if it looks like Bitcoin, the drop is over, like it was trending down when I did that. And sorry, let's yeah, I had this candle actually coming down when I did that, and it just kept going up. So it's very risky to those of you who are interested in leverage trading. Shorting up here during a Bitcoin dump or a Bitcoin pump, even if you have a nice drop, is very risky. So learn from my experience, don't do it. If you see a crashing dip, then go ahead and get in on that and then just live trade it. But that, this drop and getting in towards the end of it wasn't a big enough move. So anyway, let's go back to what we can do with Altcoin Alert. So that's the Axis trade that I got into this morning, and it's still showing a very high score of 94.0. But it's hard to say where you would get in here when you have a pump like this. I mean, I don't like to buy this high up on the Bollinger Band. I like to, if something's above the SMA line, I like to catch it, say around here, 2%. It's a pretty nice day trade, 2% in 25 minutes. That's good stuff. So if you are going to buy this and try to ride it higher, I mean, we have a recent retrace to this level here. So if it goes back there, 2.3%, the wick goes up to 3.3%. That's a pretty good day trade. But I would set either a tight stop loss or, live trade it. By live trade, I mean you sit there and watch it. Maybe you have some music going on in the background. If you have dual screens, maybe you're, doing some of this, watching something on the screen and checking this every few seconds. That's how I usually live trade if I know I'm going to be there for a while. So, or you could just set an OCO with an exit up here and a stop loss of maybe 1 or 2%. So that's how I would do that. Any questions on Axie before I look at some others?
How's that looking on the Elder Impulse?
Let's check it out. Oh, Elder Impulse. So this is my favorite sort to do. You click on the Elder Impulse daily. And we're looking for bullish under the daily and under the long-term sentiment. And Axie is listed number 12. It is showing bullish on both. So we like that.
Good.
It's obviously we've seen the very bullish AA score. I'm usually looking for a neutral or better. With this sort, trading activity is normal, but towards the bottom end of normal because it's negative. Social activity is thumbs up. That could have to do with a lot of the gaming people who like to play, and make money on this game. The upper range is pretty small. I'm usually hoping for 5% or more on the 1 hour projected range. It's 2.5%, but again, with this much positive information, this could be one to get into. You could also wait for a dip. This was my alert to remind me where to ladder buy if the trade went against me. I went ahead and left that alert live in case there's a big dip. If the numbers are still strong, I'll buy it again. So, a dip down to here obviously would take me out of my stop loss, even though it's in profit now, and then I would just get back in. But with the way the coins move, I think I'm going to move this up. So I'm seeing support here. Yeah. 41.533. So I think that will be my new alert. So if it drops down there, I'll reevaluate, maybe get back in. Okay, any other questions on Axie? All right, let's see what else we got on the AA score. New cipher. This one's interesting in that it's only been on Binance a little while. Yeah, so this kind of, I prefer more of a coin history than this, but I've heard of this coin. It's been around for a while. So if it's not on the exchange that you use and you're evaluating it, you can go to what it had going on another exchange. It was on Coinbase, and you get much more candle action because it's been on Coinbase since November, and that's enough for me to feel good about charting this and evaluating it. So that's the day chart. Like a lot of them, it had the big dump in May, but this one really hasn't recovered much at all. Down 80%. It's up a little bit today, it's had a little bit of momentum the last couple days. On the 1 hour, it's really choppy, but trending up. So on the 5 minute, if we're interested, where do we get in? Well, it's going to be like Axie, and this will probably be the trend for most of the coins we look at today on the 5 minute chart, in that Oh, we just had a pretty big candle here, dropping. Yeah. 1.5% in one candle. So this one might be starting to dip. Might be able to catch it lower than up here. Bitcoin is last three candles are trending down. So not sure if it's going to hold 41,000. So if it dips below 41, these other coins are going to dip too. Kind of I'm not feeling really good about entering any trades up here with Bitcoin being this twitchy. So I would probably set alerts down here and try to catch a retrace. All right, so that's new Cypher. We'll look at Sandbox too. Sandbox hit an all-time high recently. Yeah, about a week ago. It's dipped a little bit since then. The hour really hasn't reacted that much to the Bitcoin pump. Like I mentioned, this is one of those NFT gaming tokens, which really should not correlate with Bitcoin anyway. Okay, well, on the 5-minute chart, it did catch this this pump, and now it's dipping. So if you did catch one or two more candles, back to here's 1%, back to here's 2.4. Not that comfortable. Again, you have to live trade or do a tight stop loss, in my opinion, to trade up here. It's well above the SMA line, and it is bubbling out nicely though. So that's usually a sign it's going to go one way or the other instead of just sideways. Okay, so any questions about the AA scores? I'll just look at the three at the moment.
I'm curious about Doge, which doesn't seem to be moving up along with this Bitcoin rally. It certainly moved down with it.
Yeah, good old Doge. I haven't traded that in a while. Let's zoom out to the day chart. $74, $70. Yeah, it's mostly gone sideways the last few days.
Right. Yeah, which seems odd for something with usually a lot of conversation, a lot of community action.
Well, it did. It sort of looks like Bitcoin. It had the drop in the wee hours of the morning. It's been rising throughout the day. Topped off here at about, half hour, 45 minutes ago, and then it's dropping a little bit. I'd be interested to see if Bitcoin and these other coins bounce off the SMA line and then shoot up. That happens sometimes. So, and the chat. Tony's asking about reserve. I'll assume that's RSR. So we'll check that out. Is that in my list? No. Don't really know anything about this. I've traded it once or twice. Okay. All right, on the day, it's really only started to recover recently, lost 84% of its value. Has been trending up the last few days. And on the 5 minute, yeah, it's pretty much duplicating Bitcoin's run. Yeah. So let's see if Bitcoin's not really close to the SMA line yet on the 5 minute. So we have 4 straight small red candles on the 5 minute chart. So if you're interested in RSR, I would look for some more positive candle action. Try to catch a retrace. You know,
So wait for it to dip again.
I prefer trading off dips. Many of my videos in the past, and I talk a lot about in both my Friday and Monday Zooms about the 1, 2, 3 dip. A really good example right here. For those of you up at 2 a.m. Pacific, you got a good trade. Here's a big crashing dip here. 1, 2, 3. So let me circle those. 1. This little one here. And this one here. Actually, that one is, yeah, right around here. Yeah, that's it. All right, so you got a big dip, a small dip, and then like a medium-sized dip. So I usually look for 1 or 2 candles trending in the way I want to go. I get in, probably would have gotten in right about here. You know, to the SMA lines, 5%. It's kind of ambitious. I probably would have looked at this. There's a little bit of resistance and support here, 2.76. You know, probably would have gotten out maybe. So 10 hours, about 3%, you know, not bad. So that's a pretty good day trade. And if you set an alert instead of a sell order and see that it's trending up, maybe you live trade this and get, something up here, around 5.5%. So I think there are coins moving better than this one. Are you in this one now, or is it just something you're interested in?
No, I just saw the I just saw it on the alert as a bullish. It said strong bullish. I'm still trying to understand what all this means. I mean, I know what the term bullish means, but like how to read the alert.
Okay, so did we get an altcoin, an AA score that this was bullish?
Yeah, it was like 80/100, 80 out of 100.
80 out of 100, right? I generally don't look at a coin unless it's very bullish. Preferably over the 90s, like high 80s
Okay.
or 90s. That's, me personally, the Josh of the Thai and the other folks at Altcoin Alert say 80 and above is good. You have about a 74% chance of getting 3% or better for those that are above 80. So the problem,
So I should wait
Bo,
for something to hit 90%, like 90 or better.
that's my preference. I think why I do this Zoom is to help you guys find entry and exit points, because they really don't teach that on Altcoin Alert, and it has something to do with reading charts, and and that's why I send the free training for the 1, 2, 3 dip from a different platform, so you guys have an idea of where to get in. If you just see that, if you just saw that and you got in here, you'd be in a loss right now, and maybe it comes back, maybe it doesn't. So we need to find good entry points, and this sequence here is usually a good, pretty consistently about 2/3 of the time, the 1, 2, 3 dip will be a good entry point. And if it goes against you, you can buy again, what I call ladder buying, and that decreases your exit position. That's if you're just learning, learning AA and the charts and things like that now. Ladder buying is slightly advanced, but something you need to learn, fairly soon. Yeah. Or you can just use stop losses, which is what most people do. So
What platform do you use to buy and sell?
I use Binance International with a VPN, and each day of negative news about Binance makes me, seriously consider moving all or most of my, most of my assets elsewhere. It's just, I wrote it in the Slack group today. I'm addicted to Binance. It's what I learned on. It's got nearly everything. The volume is fantastic. I mean, going to an exchange with a tenth of the volume just seems awful to me. And so far, I've never really had any trouble with them, even despite all the negative news. So,
Well, so far I'm using crypto.com, and that's pretty much a buy and hold platform. They don't really allow any kind of like short selling or like, it's just, it's the simplest platform to buy and hold, but there's no really method of doing these strategies that you guys talk about.
Yeah,
so
it's not a trading exchange. I assume you live in the US?
I do.
Yeah, so I'd suggest Coinbase Pro. Their support sucks, but they have a better a better selection than they used to even a year ago. So that's where I would move my, maybe I'll do it this weekend. I'll move my spot trading over to Coinbase Pro. And I eventually want to move my leverage trading over to Femex or Bybit or something like that. But
the fees just a lot better on Binance than Coinbase Pro, though.
They are quite a bit. It's about 0.1%, maybe 0.2%, depending on whether it's a limit or a, or a market order. But yeah, again, it's just what I trained on. It's what I'm comfortable with. I know how it works, and I've tried to use it. It's a learning curve. I'm not that anxious to do, but I know I need to. So
how is Binance US?
I hear it's awful. I've never used it. So
I vouch for that.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a serious customer service problem, and I don't know how they're going to recover from that. I mean, you don't start a new business and immediately screw over everybody.
Yeah. CJ, if I might.
Go ahead.
One of the things on AA Alert that I've discovered along with Alan out there is that once your AA Alert hits and you want to look for someplace to get in, I agree with you. The high 80s, 90s, you really want to hope for that unless you're going to stretch a little bit. But the other thing is once that alert hits with a very bullish, it's going to go down before it goes up 80 to 90% of the time. So if you're looking at their charting and you see where it's gone up, it hasn't come down yet, hang on, it's going to be coming down 9 out of 10 times. And that will give you some kind of eye to go with the rest of your information to say, okay, this might have something here, but I have to wait 8 hours or 10 or 12 hours to see where it's going and what it's doing. And I use KuCoin a lot. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I've had very good success with it. So I've even started some margin trading on it here this last week. Little bit of dipping the toe in at a time, but those are just some things that I do, and just thought I'd throw them out for somebody.
All right, thanks for sharing. That's all helpful, and then and he's talking about finding good entry points for your AA score coins, and when I joined, when we were first made this available, it was about a year ago.
Yep.
Late July, and the market was pumping then, so it's pretty easy just to buy as soon as the alert came out, and pick up a couple percent. So I was doing that pretty consistently, but when the market changed and I realized I have to get better about getting better entry points, and so if it's if you're up here well above the SMA line, we've got 3 green candles now. It had a little dip, and now it might be going back up again. So, I don't like I said, I would do a tight stop loss for this. Actually, let's go back to Axie because that was the top one. So, ooh, hit 44. I think my exit's up here somewhere. But anyway, yeah. So we've had a retrace here, and before trading this, I'd want to see some candle action going up, or like Pat was talking about, and what I talked about earlier, set an alert down here and try to catch it on a dip. So, a good entry point is really, really important if you're going to day trade. If you're, and day trading is the focus of what I'm talking about in this show. But if you want to swing trade, for a week or two or a month, or buy and hold, paying this much attention to an entry point is not as important. So, somewhat important, but.
Well, lately it's been important because you go in on some of those low entry points and it just keeps going down.
Well, yeah, but for example, even last night with Bitcoin fell as much as it did, I had a low. I think I had a low buy order in around 36 and change. Yeah, I was looking at this resistance, thinking I'd like to catch this. So I set a low buy order, for Bitcoin around here, and for Ethereum the same. It didn't hit. It went down to this, to 38.5, but not to 36.5. So my order's not filled, and now I'm not in Bitcoin or Ethereum, and I missed this pump on those 2 coins. I did sort of catch it with Axie, but it would have been nice to have those other 2 as well. But I was too, maybe a little too cautious. But if I'm putting a low buy order when I'm sleeping, I want it to be really low. It's a bit of a risk anyway. So, but yeah, but anyway, the point is the shorter time frame you're trading, the more important that entry is.
So is this going to be a good service for, like, I'm more of a swing trader, I think, mentality, because I can't sit and look at a chart all day.
Yeah. Well, they say, 24 to 48 hours, sometimes 72 hours before your trade pans out. So, you could do some, I would consider short-term swing trading using Altcoin Alert. Get a good entry point, and but maybe instead of the 5-minute chart, you might use the 15-minute chart. So, anyway,
is there training on the different charts and how to use them and what these even mean?
Well, sure. Yeah, there's chart training in CryptNation. Have you gone through well, if you just signed up, you probably haven't had time to go through the Altcoin Alert training.
No, I haven't. I opened it up and looked at it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been working all day. I just got off work, so I haven't had a chance to look at anything.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought this was training. I didn't, and I apologize. Maybe I'm a little jumping the gun by jumping on this by this thing that you're doing now. But I didn't know what to expect. I just, jumped in.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, you need to spend some time in the support videos, and that'll go over the basics of what these scores mean and how you can sort, which we're going to do shortly. Well, we did the Elder Impulse short sort, and we'll do some others as well. And then
you need to stay around with CJ also. He's a straight
Yeah.
shooter, and he's one that you can, when he says something, he believes it. So that's definitely a guy to learn from.
I appreciate that endorsement.
Checks in the mail, right?
Yeah. But Tony, yeah, the purpose of my Friday afternoon Zoom is to focus on, okay, now you've got this information. What do you do with it? How do you trade with it? So, and how do you day trade with it? Because that's Altcoin Alert. To me, I was a day trader before I was a swing trader and a long-term trader. So when I saw Altcoin Alert last year, I went, oh, I know exactly what to do with this. This is day trading information. So, and that's why I've sort of, been one to talk about it and do these videos to help you guys out, because there's like what I've shown you in the charts and things like that isn't necessarily taught, you know, from a day trading perspective by CryptNation or Altcoin Alert. They provide the information, and then what you do with it's up to you. So I hope my show helps fill in the gap. They do have a Tuesday afternoon question and answer type thing, so that's helpful. I always attend that. It's at 2 Pacific, I believe. If you're working, you'll probably have to catch the replay. So, and then, you know, the purpose of my show is to go a little bit beyond that. So
I find your show much more helpful than the 2 o'clock on Tuesday.
well, thank you. That show is also broad. You know, I go over the broad market, you know, for maybe 5 minutes to begin with, and then it's trading. And that show tends to be the opposite. It's more like, you know, the broad market, and then, you know, 5 or 10 minutes of altcoin alert stuff. So, you know, and that's okay. It's just a different approach. You know, there's no right or wrong way to do it. So, all right. Well, with that in mind, let's do one more sort on altcoin alert, and then I'll just throw it open to what you guys ever want to talk about. We'll do on the AA score, you can sort by the high, and for those of you who want to short, you can sort by the low. I look at this sometimes to look for very bearish or bearish. You know, 1 inch I traded last week based off this sort. But we're going to sort based on trading activity. So on trading activity, I'm looking for, you know, fire or a thumbs up under this column. Looking for neutral or better on the AA score, and then 5% or higher on this, and then these others I'm a little less concerned about. So most of these are showing bearish at the moment. Funfair bearish 1.78. I'm not really seeing one here that intrigues me that much. If I put stars by the ones that I've traded before. Actually, I've traded that one before. So this sort is not working out that great. On ontology, you know, the upper is only 3.77, but I got fire here and neutral here. 8.68% rise today on the 24-hour change. That's another thing I like to look at. If it's like 40 or 50%, I assume it's over. You know, it's unlikely I'll be able to do much with that. But, you know, something like this shows it's trending up, but it hasn't, you know, blown the top yet. So let's check out ontology. Okay, day chart. This is an old, I haven't charted this since October, so. Big dump from the high, and it's just starting to come back. Looks like most of the others we've looked at. Hour chart had a big pump. A couple days ago. And it's trending up nicely now. What's Bitcoin doing? Yeah, Bitcoin's pumping again. So that's the 1 hour, my bad. Yeah, kind of going sideways at this point, but ontology is moving up. So got a slight wick on top, which makes me think it's rejecting, going higher at the moment. Not sure what to do with this. Not loving it. Probably wait for a retrace down here at the top of the Bollinger Band. Makes me a little nervous. Got a retrace over here of only 1%. The risk reward's not very good on this. So yeah, I would not do much with this trade. Okay, well, that's my last sort.
So CJ, I've got one more sorting question. You touched on this for a second, but sorting for bearish, because we're usually talking more about the bullish. So what do you look for when you are trading and sorting by bearish?
I really just look for a low AA score, and then I look at the chart myself.
I see.
This just sort of gives me an idea of what to look at for very bearish and bearish.
So you're hoping that it's just so far down that it's got room to move up.
No, I'm looking for this.
No.
If I'm trading this, I'm looking for it to go down.
You're okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
bearish. If I'm and that you need to have some leverage to do that. Either, a futures account, or I've talked before about the leverage tokens on Binance and FTX, where you can get 2 to 3x leverage. That's a good transition from spot trading. Once you've mastered, you're reasonably good at spot trading, I think the leverage tokens are the next step. Then after you do that pretty well, then you go into leverage. But yes, and this is kind of confusing, and it took me a while to really wrap my head around it. Very bullish usually means that it's got room to move up. So sometimes that's a coin that's been beaten down, or it's a coin that's trending. So like if I look at, we've looked at Axie already. Let's look at Voyager. If I click on Voyager, it'll give me a chart. I mean, it's not a very detailed chart, but the price is up to 220. And then this is where the AA score is. There's no correlation between these scores. I used to think there was, but there isn't. So this has a high score and it's trending up. And most of them probably look like this because of Bitcoin's action today. But sometimes you see this and it's not trending up. It's going sideways or even trending down a little bit. So that's why I try to talk about the entry points, so that you don't, buy up here, have it trend down, go, feel despair because your AA score of 85 went down 5% before it went up. So, so that's why we talk about the entry points, but I don't really have a good example of something that has a high score and is, kind of sitting at the bottom of its range. I think before it gets I don't know exactly how the AA score works, that's proprietary, but it's probably something that's been down and starting to trend up, and that'll get it a high score. And always remember to reload your page after you look at one of these. After you click on one of these, because if you don't, it'll put you back. I don't know if you noticed, but before I refreshed, it showed data updated 4 days ago. It was 4 days ago is the last time I looked at one of these, on so, and the top 5 AA scores is totally different. I should have pointed that out at the time. Now it's too late, but anyway, it's a good idea of when you're zipping around here and doing sorts to right click and reload to make sure you have the most current data possible. So, all right, guys. Well, I've been yakking like a crazy person. We're at about 45 minutes into this. I'll throw this open to any crypto trading questions you guys want to talk about. Otherwise, I'll probably stop the recording and I'll hang around for some other stuff. So, all right. Not seeing anything in the chat either. So I'll go ahead and stop the recording now. And for those of you watching on the recording, thanks so much for doing that. And those of you who attended live, you can hang around a little bit longer if you want to. See you next time.
Thanks, CJ.
Thanks.